Okay guys, so here will be a review of the Hitachi 1000 3-piece demolition boom. And although I already have a review up of this is the Van Goingen, and excuse me if I pronounced that wrong, but this is a different colored livery. And even though it is the same exact model, the decaling and paint does differ. So I figured I'd give you a look at what this looks like compared to the other one. And plus, if you haven't seen the other review, you can get an idea of the model from this review. So, the model is spectacular in this colors, and I think the one decision in buying these models now is not which version to buy, but what color to buy. And I guess it really depends on you, because when I look at this I like it a lot, but when I look at the orange one I also like it a lot. So it depends on your taste of color. So the model has every feature that the other one has. Boom extends and the stick extends and comes back in, but I'll show that later. But my cylinder is very stiff. So anyway, to start off, the bottom of the machine, the tracks are very nice. They are thin, which I don't like at all, but there's nothing really you could do about it. One good thing about it is they are double grouser pads, which you only see double grousers on these larger machines. So that is a very large plus. The actual tracks do have a tensioner in them, so it keeps them nice and tight on the model. It doesn't sag them too much, and there really is no way to lock it in position to keep them loose, or a little bit loose, which would be nice, to keep it, to make them sag a little bit, but you can't really do that. The whole frame is metal and the steps are metal, and it's pretty detailed, as you could tell. It's nothing crazy. A good thing about it is, unlike any excavator model that I know of, these have the jacks on them, and the jacks are screw down, and which means they'll hold the entire machine and they'll hold a substantial amount of weight. And that's so you could take the track frames off, because if you look underneath here, it has a screw right there and a screw right there. If you unscrew that, you can take the track frame off and display for transport on a low boy or a low loader, depending on where you're from, which is awesome. I like that a lot. Now coming up to the top, I have to say that the sand color, or the beige of the model, really makes it how it is. And I think without that color, I probably would have never bought it if that beige was green, because I just like how it offsets the green a lot. But anyway, the cab itself is pretty detailed. It's hard to see on the inside because the windows are slightly tinted, which I think makes it look very cool. I like that a lot. But it has the cab guard, and it's pretty detailed, as you can tell. It has the overhead cab guard. This is plastic, and the railings are plastic. The catwalks on the side are plastic, but you could tell they have the slip texture on them. And even though the real machine has it, I don't like on the model how the catwalks are separate, but I believe that's so they could fold up. All the handrails you see over here, and that spread the rest of the model that I will show you, are all metal, which is nice. They seem a little thick, but they also don't, but I figured that I would point that out. Now, one very cool thing is that this decal right here is actually a quote, and it reads, "The dream of every man and boy is to play with this large toy," which I never seen a quote on a model, or at least a quote like that, so I thought that was very cool. And as for the rest of the decaling, it is very nice. It's just crisp, and even something of that small decal is readable, very readable. This door right here opens, and maybe it's just this model right here, but unlike my other ones, this door opens very nicely and it closes very nicely, which I like a lot. The inside over here is plastic. but that doesn't really matter since it's on the inside. And you can also tell on the back of the door, the rivets are painted, which is very nice. And if you listen, it clips in. You can tell also the handle for the doors are painted black and silver. So, you know, that's obviously a plus. Now, the bottom of the model, all along the bottom, is the beige, but oddly enough, it stops right there. So I guess the real machine is like that. I'm gonna have to lower the camera down. Now, the counterweight, and it's a little hard to focus. The counterweight is decaled very nicely, I have to say. There's really not much detail on the counterweight. You can tell it's basically just flat, but it is extremely, extremely nice. The decaling is nice and thin and all. Very cool, and also includes a company website. These railings up here are also metal, which is nice. And if you look right here, the counterweights actually come out. And there's 4 separate pieces. It's going to be a little hard to show, but here we go. There's 4 separate pieces, and I don't know why they do that, because it's not like you could display these for transport, and I doubt the real machine is like that, but they don't really weigh that much, and on the 3-piece one, they don't really do much for the model. So, you can tell that they're pretty hard to get in, so especially even if you just drop them in like that. And the top one has those 2 lifting lugs right there, so maybe the real machine's like that, but like I said, I doubt it. The right side is probably my favorite side, and that's because of the color. You could tell they painted the inside of the vents black to represent depth, and that does it very well. And then the vents are silver, which I like a lot. I'm still undecided which side I like better. But they're not etched through, but they're etched enough to where you can put your finger inside them. More decaling over here, which is very nice. And these handrails are metal, as well as these steps right here. Now, we're going to go to the top, and on the deck of the machine, and the deck is very nice, I have to say. I wish it would have been a little bit less green on top, but that's probably like the real machine is, and if you look at the machine in real life from eye level, you're not able to see the top. But these, I believe, are metal. All these right here. The exhaust might be plastic, and you could tell all the anti-slip texture, or where the grips would be where you step in real life, are painted black. And also over here you have the caps for the hydraulic fuel, and over here is for the diesel fuel, and on the inside you have all the lines for the hydraulics to run to the boom. And I think that's a plus for sure, and they're nice and flexible as well. Now, to lower down again, coming to the cylinders. The cylinders are not actually painted, they're casted green, which is a plus because the paint won't chip, and I think that is nicer than the orange version, where some cylinders on the model are painted and the paint chips right off them because it's painted on plastic. So I think that is a plus. On the inside you have, I believe, it's hard to see, but I believe those are the 2 horns right there, and there's a swing motor in there. Now, one very cool thing about the model is not only do the tracks come off, but the boom is able to come off as well, and that's by these 2 pins, and it comes off just like that, and then you could lower this down for transport like that. On the boom, you have the casted lines in the back, and they're kind of hard to see, but they're really not if you look closely, but from far away you can't really see them because they blend in so easily. It also has the lines that run on the side of the boom to the quick attach for the booms, and luckily my cylinders are pretty stiff. And here's how the boom attaches, and I'll show you it attaching. You just take it like this, and then push it in, and then it'll just slide in like that. And what I always do first is pin the bottom. Sometimes it's a little difficult. And there's the bottom. And there's the top. Now, they also give you the hydraulic lines to attach, and these attach just by going in like that. But these top ones are sometimes hard to attach because the rubber stretches and unstretches, and the length isn't exactly perfect, so I'm not going to put them in for the review. The rest of the boom is my favorite. Even though it's very green, and like I'm gonna say a lot in this review, I don't like when there's too much of one color on a model. It's a very nice how the decals are big, and it levels the green out. On top of the boom, it's got more lines casted in, and they just run to the stick, and then here's a huge cylinder. And what's cool about it is that there's two cylinders to push out this part of the boom, which I think is awesome. You don't really see that too often on models. It has the auxiliary lines running down the stick, and then they come off right there, and then they attach to the shear. And the shear is great because unlike my other one, which is in the standard yellow, they casted these cylinders black so the paint won't come off them. Another good thing about it is that the shear is black, and I think that the black blends very well with the model. And also, these cylinders aren't too stiff when they don't really need to be, so you could open and close them very easily. The shear itself spins at 360 and it opens, and this shear would obviously be to cut concrete. Actually probably pulverized concrete. The movement of the shear is absolutely perfect. It comes up very far, and it comes back very far, and also has the lines running to it. Now, as you could tell from the model, it's very nice, and that pretty much sums up the review. I think it's a extremely nice model, especially in the colors that it's in. I'm glad that NZG produced it in these colors. I would have never thought that they would have produced liveries of this machine, and luckily they did. And like I said, I'm very glad that they did. One thing that I wish they would have done, especially with this one, is release a high reach version, or at least sell or offer the model with the 3-piece and the high reach boom. But I guess that this company didn't either want that produced or does not have that on the real machine. But either which way, it would be very nice to have it produced in a high reach version. The paint and everything on it is spectacular. The build quality is great. It retails for around $240, which is worth it because it's a bigger model than you think, especially when you get it out of the box. But anyway, I hope you liked this review. There are only 300 of these made, so if you want one, I would probably pick one up soon, as I don't know if these will sell quick or they will not. But for my eyes, they will probably sell quick. So I hope you liked it, and take care.